The Silent Language, Episode 5, The Emotional Pendulum, Anger, Guilt, and Excessive Affection. Welcome to Invisible Clues, The Silent Language. I'm Roger Warstone. If you are joining me today, it means you have completed the most challenging portion of the investigation. You have moved through the four phases of methodical inquiry. You validated your instincts, Episode 1. You documented the emotional retreat, Episode 2. You confirmed the time theft, Episode 3. And you found the physical and financial evidence on Episode 4. You are now standing at the absolute precipice, the confrontation. Up until this moment, your partner's strategy has been silence, evasion, and concealment. They have been hiding their secret life externally, behind locked phones and fabricated schedules. But when the evidence becomes undeniable, when they sense the net closing, their defense mechanism changes entirely. They abandon concealment and turn to emotional chaos. The guilty party cannot maintain equilibrium. The sheer overwhelming pressure of the lie, the internal psychological conflict, the cognitive dissonance, and the fear of exposure creates a state of high emotional volatility. This volatility is directed entirely at you, the observer. Tonight, we examine the emotional pendulum, the two extreme contradictory ways a partner may behave. This behavior is a direct, predictable result of the intense guilt and desperate internal need to either justify their betrayal or smother your suspicion. These dreams are not genuine expressions of either love or justified anger. They are simply psychological defenses meant to keep you from the truth, derail your senses of self worth, and prolong their own comfort. Your survival depends on recognizing this instability for what it is, the final desperate confirmation of their duplicity. We must remain detached, observe the chaotic swing of the pendulum. We begin with the most aggressive and painful extreme, the deployment of manufactured rage. This segment is the spike in anger and criticism, the projection strategy. The shift from subtle defensiveness to outright targeted hostility is a necessary and predictable move for the guilty. It's a psychological Hail Mary pass, a desperate attempt to change the subject of the conversation from their misconduct to your supposed flaws. The psychology of justification, making you the problem. A person who's engaged in significant moral misconduct often cannot live with the cognitive dissonance of being both the good person they claim to be and the deceiver they truly are. The easiest way to resolve this crippling internal conflict is through a defense mechanism known as projection. The psychological necessity is absolute. To make themselves the victims, they must first successfully make you the problem. If they can convince themselves and possibly the third party that the marriage was irretrievably broken because of your actions, then the affair becomes less a betrayal and more of a justified escape. This internal necessity manifests as external rage, unusual hostility, and picking fights. You will observe a sudden, sustained spike in anger that is disproportionate to the circumstances. This is not normal relationship conflict. This is the tactical creation of conflict. Look for unusual hostility, a short temper, or a sudden, deliberate habit of picking fights. This anger seems to come from nowhere, triggered by minor inconveniences that they previously ignored. A forgotten chore, a misplaced item, a simple question about their day. The manufacturer conflict protocol. Their guilty partner will deploy arguments at strategic times, right before they leave for one of their fabricated absences, to establish a sense of distance and dissatisfaction before they go, or immediately upon returning, to create a tense atmosphere that stifles further questionings. The goal is to generate friction to make the home environment genuinely uncomfortable. thereby providing internal and external justification for the emotional disengagement. They are constructing the narrative. I had to seek peace elsewhere because this home is chaos. Now, the emotional shrapnel. This rage is an attempt to inflict emotion pain severe enough that you will retreat and stop asking uncomfortable questions. You are now being treated not as a spouse, but as a hurdle to be eliminated, becoming the relentless critic and blame shifting. That's another type of anger. This anger is almost always deployed through targeted criticism, a relentless assault on your character and history. They become highly critical of you, your habits, or your past mistakes. They will resurrect old, settled issues, magnify your minor flaws, or complain about personality traits that they once claimed to love. Specific microaggressions. Listen for specific phrases that attempt to redirect the focus. They will move from present issues, their absences, to your character. You're always so controlling. No wonder I don't tell you anything. Shifting their secrecy onto your supposed behavior. You're too needy. It pushed me away. I'm sorry I got to sound like that, but that's the voice I'm using. Using emotional needs as justifications for seeking intimacy elsewhere. You were never interested in sex anyway. Why are you suddenly asking questions? Weaponizing a known vulnerability. These accusations are designed to land with maximum damage, forcing you into a defensive posture. When you are busy defending your past actions or your character, you are not focused on the present, verifiable facts of their betrayal. The debate is now about who is the worst person, not who broke the commitment. Your counter strategy, the protocol of non engagement. Your defense against this anger is absolute non engagement. Do not defend yourself. Do not allow them to drag you into a fight about old history. Refuse to fight. When they launch an attack, calmly state that you will not discuss past issues while they are angry. Use neutral, firm language. I heard that you are frustrated, but I will not argue about this. We can discuss it when you're calm. Document the pattern. Simply observe and document the severity of the frequency of the attacks. When they are using anger to aggressively build a case against you, they are confirming the immense guilt they are desperately trying to deflect. The anger is not proof of your flaws, it is proof of their panic. This segment is the guilt trap and excessive affection. Hysterical bonding. If anger fails to create the necessary distance, if you remain calm and persistent, the emotional pendulum swings violently to opposite extremes. The guilt trap. This is the manipulative use of excessive affection to smother your suspicion and appearance and appease their own overwhelmed conscience. Exaggerated displays of affection and gifts. This is the face of sudden and exaggerated displays of affections. The change is jarring. The partner who was cold and critical is suddenly warm, engaged, and attentive. They may start saying, I love you more frequently, offering compliments when they haven't in months, or initiating intimacy when they had previously been withdrawn. Crucially, this phase includes buying excessive gifts or apologizing constantly for vague, generalized bad behavior. The economics of guilt gifts, these are not gifts of genuine appreciation, they are bribes of guilt. The cost of the spontaneity and luxury of the gift are directly proportional to the side of the lie they are trying to cover. A sudden upfront vacation or an expensive piece of jewelry is often less a token of love and more a transactional apology designed to keep you emotionally distracted and quiet. The logic is simple. If I give you something valuable, you will feel grateful, not suspicious. The apology loop, the constant vague apologies. I've just been a terrible partner lately, or I haven't been giving you enough, are designed to show effort without ever confirming a specific wrongdoing. They admit a general flaw to avoid confessing the specific betrayal. The difference: genuine reconnection versus hysterical bonding. You must be able to discern the difference between a genuine, remorseful attempt at connection and panicked, manipulative performance. This distinction is vital for your emotional survival. The most potent form of this overcompensation is what is termed hysterical bonding. This is a sudden, intense sexual or emotional relationship that often occurs immediately after discovery or during periods of high suspicion. Hysterical bonding, the performance. This is characterized by rushed, almost mechanical intensity, an intense focus on the physical act, often without true emotional intimacy, is a feverish attempt to make up for the lost time and prove the relationship is fine by focusing entirely on the body. It feels like a temporary fever, not a sustainable connection. The moment you press for emotional honesty or accountability, the performance ends and they often revert immediately to anger or avoidance. Genuine reconnection, the protocol. This is slow, deliberate, and built entirely on vulnerability, accountability, and consistent effort over time. It is centered on talking, listening, and rebuilding trust, not just on your physical acts. It involves taking responsibility for the actions documented in episodes 1 through 4. If the partner is unwilling to look at the evidence you collected, the affection is a lie. If the affection feels sudden, desperate, and it disappears the moment your suspicion fades, it is likely the guilt trap. Do not be seduced by the superficial calm. This segment is the real examples and tactical conclusion. To fully understand the destructive power of this emotional chaos, we must see how the two streams operate together. The partner caught in the light rarely chooses one pole. They swing rapidly, attempting to find the defense that works best to manage you at the moment. Case study: the rapid pendulum swing. Consider the anonymous case of a client I will call Robert. He noticed the scheduling and financial anomalies, episode 3 and 4. But when he attempted a gentle inquiry, his wife deployed the anger spike. On Monday, she called him paranoid and criticized his parenting, claiming he was driving the family apart. This manufactured conflict provided her with the emotional justification to say out late on Tuesday. However, realizing the anger had only made Robert more suspicious, the pendulum swung violently. On Wednesday, she returned with an expensive, unprompted watch guilt gift, and initially an intense sexual encounter, claiming she loved him more than ever. Hysterical bonding. But by Thursday morning, then Robert tried to discuss the previous night's intensity and their underlying communication issues. She snapped and became intensely critical again. This rapid swing from justified anger to excessive guilt was not confusing. It was textbook manipulation. She used anger to deflect his attention and guilt to silence his suspicion. The inconsistency, the sheer psychological whiplash, is the final undeniable proof of their internal catastrophic breakdown. The final protocol: choosing clarity. You have collected the clues, you have documented the patterns, you understand that the final emotional reactions are not about your worth, but about their guilt and desperation. The question now shifts from what is happening to what do I do? The path forward, whether it's reconciliation built on radical honesty and accountability or separation built on self respect and courage, is entirely your choice. Be guided by the facts you have documented, not by the emotional chaos they are attempting to deploy. Your methodical investigation is complete. You now possess the truth. This is the conclusion and teaser for episode 6. Before we end this series, there's one final crucial piece of due diligence. Our entire investigation has operated on the assumption that the accumulation of clues from episode 1 through 4 points toward infidelity. However, a responsible investigator must always consider alternative explanations before presenting a final accusation. What is the exhaustion, the new gym routine, the irritability, or the distance is not a secret relationship, but something else entirely? A true professional leaves no stone unturned. In our final supplemental episode, episode 6, False Trails, when it's not cheating, but it's still a problem, we will provide the final necessary check against error. We will examine critical alternative explanations for the symptoms you have observed. Mental health and stress, discussing how severe depressions, anxiety, or acute work stress can lead to decreased intimacy, irritability, and dramatic routine changes that mimic the signs of betrayal. We will detail apathy and emotional distance can be signs of deep mental distress, midlife crisis, or personal insecurity. We will show how a sudden interest in appearance and new hobbies is sometimes a personal crisis, a desperate need to feel value or young, and not necessarily an affair. We will provide non accusatory language on how to talk to your spouse about these internal changes. Medical or physiological factors, analyzing how profound changes in sexual routine or exhaustion can be due to age, medication, or serious medical conditions that require professional intervention, not suspicion. We will reinforce the importance of context. One or two clues are usually a problem. An accumulation of signal across all 4 episodes is a strong warning. Do not choose confrontation until you have performed this final due diligence. Your pursuit of the truth must remain methodical, ethical, and complete. Thank you for trusting me with your crucial journey. Endure the methodical and choose clarity. Join me next for the next episode. I'm Roger Warstone. Don't go away just yet. Wait for the last segment, which is about my detective agency. I'm Roger Warstone, a private detective with extensive experience in uncovering the truth behind complex cases. Whether suspicious changes in behavior, unexplained expenses, or physical signs that you just can't add up, our team is equipped to investigate discreetly and professionally. At Warstone, we specialize in criminal investigations spanning multiple areas of the law, family cases, including custody matters, locating missing persons and infidelity investigations, fraud detection, and security services to safeguard your peace of mind and assets. Remember, you're not just looking for answers, you're reclaiming your life and your peace. Keep Warstone Detective Agency in mind as your trusted partner whenever you need an expert support of professional investigations in Philadelphia or Pennsylvania. Thank you for listening and stay safe until the next episode.